RimLogix is a native cloud ERP real estate management solution built on a no-code development platform. This puts you in control, not costly software vendors and consultants. An advanced stack provides the best of both worlds, a single and open solution. Built to integrate with other best-of-breed real estate applications. Manage your business, tenants, leases, properties, and billing using any device from anywhere at any time. Create, manage, and foster relationships all in one place. RimLogix provides one source of the truth. Access reports in real time and on demand, allowing you to celebrate success with your employees and tenants. See beyond what's next in the ever-changing technology and real estate landscape to drive innovation and be an industry leader.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Realcomm Live. It is good to be back to our Friday edition. And I got to tell you, though, I kind of missed the studio that we were working with at our conference in Scottsdale. We had about 30 plus different segments, which are going to be available up on YouTube soon. The content was out of this world. The people were out of this world. But it is good to be back on our Friday episode. And so this topic that we're going to be talking about today is very near and dear to my heart. My journey on the concept of smart, intelligent, prefabricated, well-designed, efficiently constructed buildings probably started in the early 80s when I started following the project that was going on actually had gone on in Disney World at the Contemporary Hotel. And it was there that Disney first thought about the idea of constructing an infrastructure that you could literally slide the rooms into. It was one of the first in the United States. And unfortunately, over time, the costs did not line up with the original projections, and the concept of prefabricated at that kind of scale really kind of slowed down. My journey went around the world. Japan really was picking up on it. And then most recently, going back about 10 years, broad construction out of China that had assembled the 40-story building in 15 days. I'm sorry, the 15-story building, the 40-story building in 15 days. And we actually gave them a digi a few years back. So lo and behold, we were introduced to a group that came out of the Seattle area. And our guest today, Steve Corcoran, who's Systems Division Consultant with Sustainable Living Innovations, is literally going to blow your mind. I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been seeing various attempts around the world about this for a long time. And I think these folks really, really have it nailed. And we're going to bring actually a live webcam into this construction site, so you're going to be able to see what's going on. Really going to be an exciting conversation. But before we bring on Steve, I'm going to show you a couple-minute video, give you a little overview of the project, and then we're going to dive right
in. Things just take too long, too inefficient. Our industry has said for the last 75 years, there should be a way to manufacture a building, but no one's been able to pull it off. Early on, it was clear to us that incrementally improving the model that existed wasn't going to get us there. So we started over from scratch. You have to be a product development company first. How do you make parts in a manufactured environment that can be assembled in the field as a building? That was the direction we chose, and it's turned out to be the right choice. The goal is to build high-rise buildings in half the time, use half the energy, half the water, and be a better place to live. We're literally 70% less energy than the building across the street. The environmental performance of it, it just resonates. We're really proud of the fact that 303 Battery is the world's first net zero energy multifamily tower in the world. It's going to be amazing what we get to do because of the way we've approached the problem and the technology that we've used to do it. I couldn't mention the SLI team without mentioning our factory team. We think it's really important to give people who have the fewest choices the most opportunity. The people that work here, people that buy our buildings, the people that live in our buildings, they all should be better off because of what we do. That's our hope. We're not just an idea or a notion. We're a growing technology company that is changing the way buildings are designed, developed, and delivered.
I got to tell you, I've been looking and waiting for you guys for a long, long time. And when I first heard about the project, usually you have to hear something 7 times before you understand it, right? I'm somebody who was looking for it, and it was probably about 3 months ago that it finally resonated exactly what you were doing. And I got to tell you, even just going into that webcam today and you explaining at a level of detail what you are doing, it takes you a little bit of time to really embrace it. You could be disrupting 100 years of construction protocols, which is crazy. So before we get started, on the details of the project, give me a little history of the vision of the company. Day one, what was the impetus to try to go down this route of a highly efficient, energy efficient building that can be constructed in a factory and assembled on site?
Well, the Collins Warman architectural firm in Seattle is a combination of Mark Warman and Arlen Collins. And in 2008, when the whole financial sector was melting, really it was then that Arlen said, this is where we pull the plug on traditional and let's go for a different way of building buildings. Everything is too expensive, too costly. The cost of living to live in some of our cities is astronomical. So how can we build a building that's not low cost by taking all the fun features out of a building, but how do you make a building more efficient in how you put it together? How do you save on material? How do you get rid of construction waste and time waste and produce something that still can be rentable for a building owner or management company, can still get a return on their investment, but the savings can then be passed on to somebody who physically is living in that building. So lower rent cost as well.
Okay, so it was around 2008 when, I imagine you sat in rooms for days, months, years, kind of, envisioning, configuring. When was day one where you put a shovel in the ground and actually started to prove out some of the concepts?
Yeah, it started off version 1. It was actually built 2 units that we still have down in Soto in the warehouse district. We built 2 prototypes. That one is actually my lab right now where I have all my data equipment running. And then iterated through, we actually built a 47-7 in the U District in Seattle, which is a low rise. So that was our version 2. We were still pouring concrete onto our floor panels at that point. And then fast forward to version 5, we jumped through some versions, as you try to keep up with code, but also you can just see where the pathway is going and what we're developing. 303 battery that's under construction right now is our version 5. So above the podium for our apartments, there is no concrete anymore. So we've eliminated that.
So you don't use a traditional foundation?
We use traditional foundation on the podium, and really our podium in L1 is traditional construction at this point. And then once we get to the SLI system or the panelization and the kit of parts that we've produced, then it goes into really an on-site assembly process.
Well, why don't we bring up a photo of the project? I believe it'll give folks just an idea of, what the finished product will look like. Beautiful, stunning. And some of the complaints about prefabricated buildings, especially from the ones out of China, were they didn't look really good. They looked kind of like a square box. Can you give us a little idea on how you accomplished this really nice design in a prefabricated world?
Yeah, I think a lot of it stems back to the architectural side. That's where SLI is born from. So I think really we didn't want to replicate the same box over and over and over again. So in the 5 or 6 buildings that we have rendered and in full design for right now to build, they all look quite different. This is the 15-story there you're looking at, 303 battery. That is our high-rise model. So that has an exoskeleton steel. And then our panelization fits within that steel structure. We do also have a low-rise product where the load bearing is in our panels itself. And later into 2022, we'll be building a affordable housing building in Seattle as well, 124 units. That'll be 5 stories tall. So that we'll have our high-rise product and a low-rise product. So that ramp up on the low-rise product, we did the design and the team did all the load calculations and everything and really brought that into, now we're going to begin panel construction soon on that second building. And that was under 2 years to come up with a whole new technology for the other building.
And I don't know if the news got to you, not or yet, but we did give 303 a Digi Award last week at our conference in Scottsdale. And if you look at our history of those awards, we've given them to some pretty notable projects who have withstood the test of time and truly turned out to be thought leaders in the industry. So congratulations on that. Very, very well deserved.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I've shared that a little bit with the team, but it's definitely go out to the broader team. It's definitely a group effort over here, and everyone's working.
Well, you're up there with some notables like Microsoft's Digital Campus and Google's work, and some of the most intelligent buildings literally around the world, from Shanghai to New York City. And so we give those awards out and really try to find the true innovators and the true thought leaders. So again, congratulations. Let's bring up the live webcam, and we're pushing the technology a little bit. So if something goes wrong, I apologize in advance. But we've got a live feed now from the little raindrops on the lens. So now you know it's live. It's raining in Seattle.
Welcome to Seattle.
Yeah, welcome to Seattle, exactly. So give us, and we'll stay on this view for a couple minutes. Give us a little overview of what we're looking at.
Yeah, so there's actually a basement in this building. So traditional concrete construction in the podium, so basement and level 1 concrete. And then those columns that you see, we're moving to our steel structure. So that steel structure will go right up to the rooftop. And then what's interesting on that second floor is where our residential units are. So it's unfortunate that today's is wet, and there's a lot of guys doing some stuff internally. But yesterday, all 27 of those third floor panels that you can see, all nice and shiny and wet, were placed yesterday in one day. Below that, level 2, we have all of our demising walls, so our walls on the exterior, which have all the cladding already in there, so their waterproof envelopes already installed. And then all of the demising walls between units are already placed. Today and tomorrow, with the break in the weather, it's probably windy there as well. We'll start dropping in our utility walls, and the utility walls carry all of our vertical water management, wastewater, electrical bus duct, and the likes. So these panels have everything. That floor panel you look at has all the hydronic heating piping in it already. It has electrical for the window wall. It has the window wall track in there as well for our sliding glass windows when they go in.
So you already also took the utilities of the building into mind when you're looking at the efficiency. And we were chatting earlier, and you said the walls come, pre-fitted with electrical as well as plumbing. So when you're installing that Toto toilet or that shower, it's ready to go. And even to some extent, when you start working on the interiors, the modular nature of the entire building, it's a kind of a snap to grid kind of project.
Yeah, it's like becoming a kid again, like you're playing with Legos. So you have all those systems in there, and then almost like I come from the network background. So, when you start hanging APs or network devices on the end of a system, that's kind of what you're doing with the toilet. You're adding the toilet to a system that's already installed. The tank's already in the wall, the plumbing's already there, the stack's already there. So it's really that fit out stage is that final push.
So in context of a World Series, what inning, what game are we in as far as the construction industry really paying attention to this as a viable competitor to traditional construction methods?
I still think we're early. We've been, not we, I can't include myself in there. A lot of the team has been around, over a decade working on this, and worked tirelessly on it. And I still think that we're just getting going. Like the first inning is coming. Wow. At the end of the day, we're build this building, and then it's show and tell in 3 dimensions. When people can walk in, is always going to be better than looking at it on the computer. So I think we're at that point now where people can start to kick the tires. Putting on that webcam of the construction going up and watching the first walls go in at that site, and having all the floor panels go in tomorrow. Finally, we're actually proving it out that we can probably do 2 floors a week.
We were early on this topic in the U.S. Then we kind of went by the wayside. We had a major developer in New York City make an attempt at some prefabrication a few years back. But countries like Japan and China seem to have been faster on this. And why aren't there more SLIs out there playing around with this type of technology?
I think everyone's got ideas, and there's certainly been some notions out there and companies that have tried and not succeeded. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that if you're going to build this way, you need run rate. You need run rate on your panels. So if you can reduce a unit to 12 panel styles, so our floor panels, they come in different widths. So with we've really developed on the software side where we have a configurator where we can configure units. So between a a studio, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, there's just combination of assortment of different floor panels that we can tie together to accomplish that, different wall panels. So we reduce the amount of customization that goes into the building. So if you reduce it to a finite amount of parts, and within those parts there's thousands of little objects that make those assemblies, you can get pretty creative, but you're not reinventing the wheel every time you do a building.
Every time, exactly. Every building is not a new project. It's an iterative or an iterative sequence. You get better every time.
Yeah, our chassis is the same. It doesn't mean the car is going to have the same tires and the same paint, right?
So let's take a brief commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about the technical attributes of the building, i.e., what kind of technology is going into it to make it this highly efficient, highly energy efficient building. So let's hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Today, workplace leaders like you are in a tough spot. You're facing tension between managing real estate costs, ensuring employee well-being, and finding ways to make sure everyone has the right space for the right activities. Your decisions can be make or break. At Locity, we want to help you get the insights you need for those decisions. So we built a solution that can take data from your existing infrastructure and give you a clear picture of your portfolio, buildings, floors, and spaces. With views of workplace occupancy, ways to gain efficiency, and places to cut costs, you can make workplaces serve your people better, ensuring both productivity and cost savings. Plus, Locity needs nearly no setup time to deliver insights fast, without extra maintenance expenses. In over 60 countries, companies are already using Locity to make the right decisions backed by numbers and confidence. Join them today and know you're making all the right moves.
All right, we're back, and we're going to bring Steve back and continue this great conversation. So Steve, my team's asked me if I wanted to play the video, and I said, no, I don't want to give up the 2 minutes. We have too much to talk about. So we will make that video available to our audience. But, I want to dig into the technical attributes of the project. We talked, about the construction side of it, but what technologies are you putting into the building, into the systems and the walls that are going to make this energy efficient, operationally efficient?
Yeah, we've teamed up with ILFI to meet some criteria on how we treat wastewater, how we treat energy, and the like. And in doing so, ILFI is really unique in the sense that they want to collect the data. You need to analyze the data and prove out your point. It's great to say you designed a building that's going to do all these things, but where the rubber meets the road, we're going to prove it out through a collection of data. So on 303 Batty, for example, we have on-site solar and off-site solar that'll top us up to 105% of that building's energy.
So are you building the off-site solar, or are you renting it from somebody else?
No, we build that as well.
We build. Okay.
So we'll have our own solar farm, and that'll offset other buildings that we can have in our portfolio as well, depending on where they are across the country. Water reclamation. So we have a gray water treatment plant in the building. That's already down on a skid in the basement, getting plumbed in. So that'll recycle water to use in the toilet. So we use recycled gray water for the toilets and the irrigation on the rooftop and for the washing machine as well. So we start to look at reducing our water consumption by 50%. We already proved out on the energy side at 47.7. The average energy bill for a tenant was about $5.
Really?
So yeah, you're very efficient in our panels and our insulation, and in our hydronic heating that we're using. So we looked at it that 303 Battery is a master metered building, so nobody gets an energy bill. with this.
Well, because I know we talked about you had gone from individual metering to master meter just because the cost became negligible.
Yeah, when the rental on the globe is more expensive than the bill itself, it seems kind of silly. So again, this is a challenge dealing with electrical code in some jurisdictions and in control. But ultimately, we see that as the building really is outpacing what electrical code has you overbuild in your buildings for consumption.
Yep. Now, how about from the building automation, the building smarts? Have you built any features that make the tenants' lives a little better, a little bit more efficient, enjoyable?
Yeah, and we really tackled that, and we obviously look to partners in the industry that can help us. We can't do everything on our own, so within the construction itself, within various partners like Otis Elevators, folks like Williams who do a fan coil unit that runs off the groundwater, cold groundwater in Seattle. So we use that to chill the building in the summer. But on the tech side, we just found that the one aspect we wanted to have was tenant privacy. Privacy was really big for us. We started looking at various IoT functionality products and systems and cloud-based systems where that was hard to control. So we have a brilliant software team in-house producing what we call SLI Connect in the building. And it's really a system that points to the tenant for tenant features. So an amalgamation in one platform or one app on your phone that control lights and blinds and the temperature and the front door of your building and access to the building as well. So it's a conglomerate of that, but also the data in the building with leak detectors and door open sensors and various arrays for humidity around the building. SLI Connect also faces the building operator and the building owner as well. So they get a vision of how their building's performing, which light fixtures aren't operating that day, those kind of things. They'll see
without infringing on privacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is so critically important. Because in a time when we want to censor everything, and I get it, we've been promoting it for 15, 20 years, cameras and microphones and all these IoT devices may be good for, increased functionality, but they also lay the groundwork for cyber attacks and for privacy. And so being cognizant of that and from the very beginning and building that into your philosophy, I think will put you light years ahead of anybody who's, attempting to do the same thing. And so if you had to describe this building to somebody, in 30 seconds, you're coming down the elevator, right? And you got a big owner, developer or a big construction company executive. How do you, explain this building in 30 seconds?
Wow, that's a good question. It's an amenity rich building that really it's alive. We collect a lot of data, and data really has no value, but when you can start to manipulate that data and you can start drawing correlations for cross functionality within the building of various platforms on the technology side, the insights that an owner will get on energy consumption alone, where we have CTs in all our load centers, we can see what's going on in a unit per se. That information is invaluable to them, and for us as well, we use that data then to get back into our cycle of design and construction. So we look at the data and then we start to see how we can modify or improve our product.
Now how about some advice, insight for that developer who's just starting to contemplate a project and is looking at the traditional ways of building buildings? What do you offer services, consulting to them? Can they license your products? How does somebody who wants to get in on this, who doesn't have a lot of experience, do that?
Yeah, we have our development team looking at that, and I think for us out of the gate, it is something new that we're doing. So for 303 Battery, what we have a purchaser that's buying the building, but again, we've kind of financed the construction. So we're going ahead and we'll hand over the keys to the new car when it's done.
So you're not going to own and operate. You build and
this one is sold. We do have a building coming up that we will own and operate, and that will be our real life sandbox with all of our lab people in there, working away, and we can get some real time data on what it is that's going in. And ultimately, all our buildings, I think, will be on that form of network where we've got some pretty high-tech functionality going on, and we need to be able to optimize it and control it as well. So we're offering that as a service, again, to building owners.
I said earlier that we'd like to have you back. Is there any possibility that we could get you to go on site, with a camera, and maybe we do our next episode literally with you on site, able to walk around and show us some of the components and walk us through the project? Is that at all a possibility?
I'll probably have to talk to legal first, but,
Okay.
but
Always, yeah.
I think so. We have the units that we do have down at 303. That's our version 5. We actually have a functioning apartment down at Soto as well of that one that's functional. So that might be a nice way to look at it.
As long as we can grab some Wi-Fi, and a camera, then I think that would be interesting for our audience to actually, be able to walk with you through the building and give us a kind of a tour, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be certainly a component of our sales process. We're documenting how we build the buildings. Our digital platform goes far beyond just what we're putting in the building. It starts at our design table, in Revit and Inventor, how we build panels and stuff, and then we flow into the factory with the same modeling aspect. So then we start to track panels. Everything has a barcode. Our Otis elevator wall panels that have our ways already built in. Well, they're already tested, they're already inspected, they're ready to go. So those sub-assemblies that go into the building, we need to track those. So we have through our software, we can track the panels. We can know where they are in a building if we had to change something or add a trinket to a panel. We know where everything is within this building. So
all I keep thinking of is the physics, the chemistry, and the geometry are just getting better and better and better. And that's what we need, especially in the built environment where it is such a wasteful process. In many respects, you guys are applying a layer of science to it that is something that you should be very proud of. So,
well, thanks, Jim. And I had to really come at this on the networking side, which is my forte, and really catch up to what the team has done on the built side. This building is fiber to the suite. It's all DC power throughout as well to operate all of our IoT devices, Wi-Fi, access control. For 303 battery, all of our corridor lighting and our lobby lighting and all of our exterior lighting is all low voltage, right back to our data head end. So we're using Corning products, both power and LAN in the building. And that opens us up to everything that we could put in the building today, and also gives us a pretty robust platform to add to.
Like I said earlier, we need 3 hours to talk. So we're just scratching the surface. This building is going to be talked about a lot in the future. And we want to continue with you on that journey. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But I got to say thank you for being with us today and sharing your message and your journey and the vision of SLI and these great projects. And hopefully you will come back and let us continue with you.
You bet. Sounds great, Jim. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Be well. Have a great day. Bye-bye. All right. With that, let's bring Howard on to give us the news of the week. And boy, I'll tell you, that crazy? I mean, how long have we been waiting for that project?
That's a fascinating project, fascinating company. Yes, we have. And I just can't wait till we start seeing greater adoption. It just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's amazing. It took 25 years, at least in my journey, to get to today.
Yeah.
But I think that I think people are realizing, that these numbers, the science works, and it is a stubborn industry. We've been around for 100 years, but you can't deny the success of projects like this anymore.
No, and I think now with the rising construction costs and the supply chain issues, we may start seeing a little bit more of this being adopted.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm proud that we gave him an award. I think it's going to be another one of those that 5 years from now we can say spot on. So
absolutely.
Let me get out of your way, do the news, and I'll see you in a couple.
Well, thanks, Jim, and thank you, Steve. Just fascinating talk today. So I'm going to highlight a couple of items from our weekly news briefing we release every Thursday at 11 a.m. And last Tuesday, we hosted our 23rd annual Realcomm and IBCon Digi Awards. We launched the Digis back in 1999 to recognize and honor forward-thinking companies, next-gen real estate projects, innovative technologies, as well as those outstanding leaders. I mean, the folks who've really gone above and beyond to positively impact our industry. So awards were given in multiple categories on both the Realcomm and IBCon side. And in our lead article this week, we posted winners in each category who were announced during the Digi ceremony last Tuesday evening. I can't name them all right now, but I just want to say congratulations to all our 2021 winners, and thanks to each of them for their contributions and dedication to the industry. Next, a shout out to this week's tech partner, Yardi. So whether investing in partnerships, funds, REITs, or others, investors are really looking for pretty much the same thing. They want optimized returns, timely capital solicitations, clear communications across investment lifecycle, and accurate distributions. And technology has really improved a lot of these processes and eliminated a lot of snail-mailed reports, paper checks, and massive spreadsheets. But investors now, they want to dive more deeply into the operations of the investments. They want to understand how they can possibly be improved. And Chris Barbieri from Yardi built a formidable case that aggregating all of those siloed data sources into a single connected technology platform can reduce complexity, draw from a single source of truth, and help manage assets in real time. Great article. Also, shout out to our other tech partner, Join. Now, there's still a tremendous amount of uncertainty around what the return to office is going to look like. We don't know all the variables and how they're going to play out, and so much is dependent on company type and culture and location. We know tenant experience is important, and digital amenities like gigabit, broadband, cybersecurity, and unified communications are critical. Plus, overlay, you need sensors, platforms to provide space intelligence so you can track your occupancy, book and shared amenities, monitor air and environment. And when they layer on shorter leases and more agile workplaces, you have a basic recipe to attract folks back to the office. So bottom line, you need a well thought out, integrated, resilient network infrastructure as the foundation. Now on the technology, emerging technology front, Seoul, Korea Metropolitan Government announced Monday it's going to be the first major city to enter the metaverse, which they're going to be calling Metaverse Seoul. Think shared 3D virtual world where you do everything using augmented and virtual reality equipment. Now, Seoul's idea is use this metaverse for its entire municipal administration, economic, cultural, tourism, educational, and civic services. And if this works, soon Seoul citizens will be able to put on a VR headset, meet with city officials for virtual consultation, and attend mass events. It's a first, and not surprising, it's coming out of Seoul. Finally, Water Street Tampa, 56-acre mixed-use waterfront development, recently won WiredScore's Platinum for its first office tower. They scored high for WiredScore features like universal communication chambers, telecommunication intakes, building-wide wireless network, and generator space. Using GigaMonster's Universal Access Network, UAN, they worked with Water Street Tampa's technology innovation partner, Whitespace, to create this ultra-modern network platform with 5G Wi-Fi within the workspaces, common areas, and amenity spaces. Great project, keep an eye on it. That's it for me today. Out of time. Check our weekly briefing, and I will see you all next week.
Awesome, Howard, great job. Boy, these projects are just Tampa project we gave a Digi Award to a couple years ago. We're starting to hear more and more of these things. They're becoming more and more real, becoming more mainstream. I think we really are going to another chapter in this book of smart, intelligent, connected buildings.
Yeah, I think a lot of these mega projects are pushing the envelope, especially the smart district projects. A lot more of them are coming on board right now. And the uptake of technology and innovation, I think, is increasing at an increasing rate. So we're going to be seeing some cool stuff in 2022, I think.
Totally agree. All right, thank you so much. And with that, before I wrap the show and tell you about next week, we're going to hear from our final sponsor, and I will be right back.
Well, I think we I think that just about wraps it up for this week. Let's see. I think next week our guest is going to be Eugenie Dasgupta from Merck. We're going to be talking about smart buildings and smart experiences. So I'd like to invite everybody to join us next Friday. And with that, I wish you all a great weekend, and we'll see you all next week.